Broadcasting from the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studios, it's time for the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. This limited release show features the stories of the 2019 contestants of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's athletic competition, NBC's The Titan Games. Now here's your host, Katie Galley.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. I'm your host, Katie Galley. In the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studio with me today, I have Titan Games athlete and Staff Sergeant with the Air National Guard, Matt Cable. How are you doing, Matt?
Doing really well.
Well, good.
I'm really glad you called and we're able to do this podcast. I'm really excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm so happy that you were able to fit it in and that you can share your story with us. And I'm excited to just go ahead and dive right in. So with this first question, where did you grow up and how, if at all, was your childhood shaped by athletics?
So I grew up in Great Falls, Montana. Before then, I was actually growing up in Hawaii and San Diego, California. I was actually born in San Diego, then eventually moved to Hawaii because my dad was in the Navy, so we traveled a good amount. And growing up, my dad, he had me in sports, like judo growing up, and then just like, he was my soccer coach. So growing up, I started off with sports and had my dad there to, guide me. Then eventually, my parents got divorced, and that's how I ended up in Great Falls because my dad, he obviously had to stay in Hawaii. My mom then moved my brother and myself here to Great Falls, Montana, where my grandparents helped raise us.
Mm-hmm.
And I already had, in my mind and in my mentality was sports. So just because of me doing sports and enjoying it, I then started wrestling. Wrestling in middle school, playing all sports in middle school, including football, track, baseball. So that's kind of where it started. And then I found out that I really loved being athletic. It could be because I'm just really super hyper, but and then had to be doing something with sport, with being active. But I really enjoyed it.
So did that love of sport and that, the desire to be active, did it carry on through high school and then eventually college and beyond, or did you just play kind of organized athletics at a younger age?
I always just I always just loved it.
Yeah.
I went through middle school, through high school, being a 5-sport athlete, and includes football, wrestling, baseball, track. And I powerlifted in high school. So, winning, I think my junior and senior year actually was the strongest in my high school, and actually setting state records in powerlifting for my junior and senior year. And so after high school, I continued. I actually wrestled in college instead of playing football, which was kind of weird because my heart was more towards football instead of wrestling. But just the way things, fell in my hands, I had to choose wrestling. I wrestled for about 2 years. I was in the 197 weight division, and it was fun. But then after 2 years realized that in my heart I wasn't meant to wrestle. So I ended up joining the military after 2 years at college. And I wanted to start my career a little early. And so I joined the Montana Air National Guard. Mostly because I knew part-time I could, fight for my country. And then my other time I could actually, do my civilian job, which whatever that would be. But it turns out after I joined, since then I've pretty much been active duty for the Air National Guard and the Air Force, just on Title 10 orders. So I kind of have been active duty anyway. So it's almost like I should have joined, as active duty, but instead, I'm actually looking at my free time and not being active duty is kind of nice. I still can do my own thing. But yeah, since then, since joining, I then since 2015, I've been active in CrossFit and competing in CrossFit, and that's kind of been my go-to since, pretty much retiring from football and wrestling. I've been just a very heavy into CrossFit. So
Yeah. And so, I mean, from there, you had 2 years of college of, collegiate wrestling and going after that college route, but then deciding to shift and go into the military. And so, and you said, you wanted to fight for your country. And so, did you always have that desire on your heart to go into the military at some point in your life, or how did that come about?
uh, so I knew in my life I wanted to do something that helps people. I wanted to help people. I wanted to, if that was like law enforcement, if that was, even like a firefighter or whatever it was. I knew growing up I wanted to do something along the lines of that. But when you grow up, you have no idea what you really actually want to do.
Yeah.
I'm 28. I still don't know really what I want to do. Um, but yeah, I do know that I want to help people. And so um, being in the military, I knew I'd be able to, fight for this country and help this country, and that's honestly what I've been doing. So
Yeah.
it's I'm pretty happy with my decision. And the thing about the National Guard is that I could always be part time, and then my civilian job, it could be whatever I want it to be, pending um, pending next few months. We'll see where life takes me, but um, Uh, that could be from being a civilian police officer to even I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But I'll always have the military and the National Guard. So
Yeah. And it's great too. I mean, like you're saying, you had that dream, that desire on your heart to help people, and then being able to kind of marry those two loves of sport and helping people into one profession. And like you're saying, you can still have the opportunity to have, a civilian job, but being active duty, you really get to satisfy a lot of different areas of your life that you were pursuing. And so, how did this whole journey? I mean, through the career that you've had, and since graduating college, and clearly having this love of sport too, how did it eventually bring you to be a contestant on the Titan Games?
honestly, um, I always I train every day in the gym. I train and I make sure um, first to show up and then last to go home. I love training, and honestly, I had no idea I would have this opportunity for the Titan Games. But I'm big on preaching about opportunity, about you never know when it's gonna show up, when it's gonna rise, and if you're ready or not, that's on you.
Mm.
And um, I knew I wanted to do something physical, physical fitness wise, and also mentally. And to show my strength on top of everything else that's happened to me. I wanted to. I knew something was. I don't know, something was missing, and this opportunity came with The Rock. I saw a video and they're like, yeah, we're looking for these athletes, with a strong mindset, strong not only physical but mental as well, and we put through all these like rigorous tests and stuff. And I'm just like, oh man, okay, so I thought about it and like, you know what, let's sort of video see what'll happen, I wasn't getting my hopes up or nothing, you're just kind of chilling, and in the back of your head, you're like, oh, it'd be kind of cool for that email back or call or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a call from LA. I'm like, interesting, you know. I think I let it go to voicemail because I was whatever. So even if it's important to leave a message, right?
Right, exactly.
And so I got a message, they're saying this, from Titan Games. We really, really love your video that you turned in and your story. Everyone here at NBC loves you. If you could give us a call back, and I'm hearing this, I'm like, no way, what the heck? So
Yeah.
I immediately gave him a call. I remember actually, I was in Utah with my buddy. I got the call. I'm like, dude, what the heck? I'm like, dude, they just called me for this TV show with The Rock. What the heck?
Man, that's
so,
cool.
so immediately called them back, and yeah, they were just telling me, all the details. They're like, yeah, we want to send you to, this combine. We love your stories. Really glad you turned in all, your information, blah, etc. So yeah, I was in like disbelief, but then I was also excited. I'm like, well, I've worked hard for this, so I guess we'll see where it takes me. Um, and so fast forward a few months, they then send us to the combine, and the combine was honestly, it was like an NFL combine. I mean, The Rock made it, so it only makes sense, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, it was the 40-yard dash, vertical, broad jumps, stuff in that region, deadlift and all that jazz. And so we all had to show up and compete against others, and at the end we get scored on how we did on each event. Um, and then yeah, they send us home. We wait, we wait for a call, hopefully saying we made the Titan Games. And obviously in that time we're all as athletes, we're also grinding because we want to obviously be there and we want to be ready to go when we or if we make it. So after I think it was like 2 months, they finally called us, the ones who made it. They finally got a call from LA. I was like, ecstatic. I'm like, no way. I'm like, oh my god. So called me, and I was ecstatic and
Yeah.
couldn't believe it, disbelief, and just all the emotions. That was me.
Yeah, yeah, I bet. And I mean, I love to what you're saying. You have to be ready because you really don't know what opportunities are going to present themselves. So,
Hmm.
are you always going to be prepared to walk through those doors when they open up to you? Are you going to be prepared to kick down those doors when they present themselves to you? And so, I love too how it's, the Rock developed it. So it's got to be a test of mental and physical abilities. And so, how do you think that your own life experiences helped prepare you then and be already prepared to go to the combine and be ultimately a contestant on the Titan Games? How did your own life experiences mentally and physically prepare you?
Okay, so I don't know how. I mean, um, this may be the first time you and I have actually talked before. I don't know how much you do know about my story. Um, but so the whole opportunity thing. So about actually, it's been about 4 years now. Was the end of 2014, and in 2015, I was diagnosed with AML leukemia. And when I talk about opportunity, this is a big one because if I wasn't the size, and the shape and fitness, as I, if I wasn't if I wasn't in shape, the way I was, I would definitely would not be here. I went through complete organ failure, and my body was living off of honestly my muscles and just of all the training I did mentally. That's what pushed me through the ICU and the coma and the organ failure, and kept me alive. So from about 4 years now, for put 3.5 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with AML leukemia, and kind of shocked me and my family and stuff. Um, but when I got the diagnosis, I had to be strong for everybody. All my family members, all my friends. I had to let them know that I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna fight this. And I'm gonna beat it. So you guys just hang in there. So when I got admitted, I started my 24-hour drip of chemotherapy, and that's brutal because in 24 hours it just kills your entire system. In like 24 hours you're just gone. If you get sick, you're a goner because your whole entire system is wiped clean. Your white blood cell count is now at zero, and your platelets are at zero, and everything. So you are a mess. Chemotherapy is disgusting. Um, so I was on chemotherapy, and it killed off everything in my system. Um, so that's kind of what opened the doors for me getting sick and what happened. So I got sick. which is not good. And so when people are on chemotherapy, they wear masks and keep pretty isolated because if anyone comes in from outside and gets you sick, then you're it's going to be a long road for you. But so that's almost what happened to me. I got what's called a HIC report, and that's put in your chest, and that's for the IV antibiotics and all your other, chemotherapy and whatnot, all your medication and stuff. I got that surgery, a couple days prior to going to the hospital. That I think is what got me, um, is what killed me. Well, just I don't know what term one use, but that's what got me sick. It got infected. So when I got infected, it turned into like a blood infection or whatever because of it. And obviously, like I said before, with chemotherapy, your body has no immune system, can't fight anything. And so when that got infected, I immediately went downhill fast. So I went from being up here, decent. Um, I was able to talk and communicate, and then like overnight, completely dropped to my lungs failing, to then my every other organ failing. To my kidneys, to my um, liver, to my heart, and my heart failed. So they had me in ICU, like immediately. Like it dropped so fast. I was in ICU for about 18 days and in coma for 5 days. And I was in coma. Well, I wasn't supposed to wake up. They put me in an induced coma because my organs were failed so much. Um, and they tried to shoot up and like anything like all my antibiotic medication or food, water, or whatever. So I was trying to feed me through IVs and whatnot. But obviously my body wouldn't take my food, wouldn't take my water, because my kidneys weren't working, so they weren't reproducing, and so nothing was going through. So I was just my body. Think of Popeye's arm, his forearm.
Yeah.
That was my whole entire body, because my body wasn't reproducing anything. So the reason why, well, anyway, so I don't want to, cut the story or anything, but so, doctors told my mom, there's nothing that we can do for him, pretty much say your goodbyes, because my body, there really wasn't. My body was just, not, it wasn't working. And so my mom had to call out my brother in and whatnot, pretty much told him to say goodbye to your brother. You can imagine how that went over.
Oh my God.
But then 2 days ago, 2 days have passed, and I started urinating about 4 gallons a day, and so that was a really really good sign. They're like, well, this is strange. His kidneys are working. This is really good. They're like, wow, I don't know how this is happening, but it's happening. Then after another day passes, I'm urinating. My body starts reproducing everything, and yeah, I woke up. I opened my eyes, and doctors, friends, family, they all could not believe it. Doctors still to this day can't really believe it. But yeah, I opened my eyes. That following day, I remember the doctor came in, and he walks in. He doesn't even know what to say to me. He's just like, just kind of in disbelief. He's like, Matt, he's like, son, I don't know how you're alive right now, but I can tell you right now, if it wasn't for how fit you were coming in, you definitely would not be here. I just want you to know that.
Wow.
So ever since he told me that, I really preach fitness and health, because that's honestly the only reason why I'm here. So
Oh my gosh.
that's kind of when my journey began. My second life, the one that I kind of knew where and what I wanted to do, and what kind of advice I wanted to give, and I knew from that point on I wanted to help individuals. So my first goal was to get the heck out of the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and I did that. I had to relearn how to eat, relearn how to walk. That took weeks. I mean, it was supposed to take a lot longer. It took me, I think, 2 weeks. I think I had to eat. And then once they got me sitting on my bed. The doctor's like, it might take 2 or 3 weeks before you can walk. And I'm like, well, watch this. I got up and I ended up walking 4 laps, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Oh my gosh.
Because I had zero muscle. My body was just destroyed. And yeah, I got up and I started walking. They couldn't believe it. I had like a harness hooked to me. I just was like, had all this crazy stuff. It was, yeah, it was. I had catheters coming out of my body. I had PICC lines everywhere. Just disaster, complete mess. Um, and I just knew it to just keep walking. Keep putting one step in front of the other, and time will continue to go. Time will fly, and you'll be, at the gym before all this is going through my head. And so I just, one step at a time, walk. I remember actually, it was a morning, and I did before I actually was walking, and I told my mom. Well, I probably wasn't that pleasant in the hospital, because I was just so like, I was stuck in the hospital bed.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get up. Like if I had to go to the bathroom, I had to just call. I had a call button. Like, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom, guys. So like they had to come and put a bucket under my butt. I'm like, oh, I hate this. You guys are wiping my butt for me. What the? In my head, I'm like, this got to stop.
Yeah. Wow.
So I remember one morning I was like, forget this. My mom was sleeping next to me, and it was like 6 a.m. And I got up. I'm like, screw this. Like, this is not happening again. As I sit up on my bed, and I stand up, and I'm like, hey, Mom. Mom. She looks over at me. She's like, what are you doing? She's screaming at me. I'm like, I'm walking to the bathroom. She's like, she was looking for nurses. She was like, oh my God, no, you. I'm like, yeah, Mom, watch this. I walked to the bathroom, and she still to this day. She's like, you stubborn. Word I can't use on this podcast. But yeah, she used that, and it's funny to this day. I just tell you all the time. She's like, yeah, you're so stubborn, but nothing's gonna stop you from walking. I was like, nope. So, we'll fast forward, a couple weeks, to me getting released from the hospital. I got released, and then I went straight to the gym. After everything I went through, I know, right? After everything I went through, I then was like, it's that time. Like, get me out of here so I can go to the gym. So release me. My heart, though. I had a whole bunch of work done on my heart before I even got released, because it had failed. So I had to get cameras down that were looking at my heart. So I had to swallow a camera.
Oh my gosh.
That was interesting, and not in a good way. I hated that. I was like, God, how do people swallow a freaking camera? I don't. Anyways.
Oh
So yeah, they had to look at my heart, make sure I didn't have any growths on it, obviously, because like when the heart fails, and with all the stuff, antibiotics I was on and stuff, it could form, like, I guess it was like growths on them, growths on your heart. They had to make sure my heart was good and clean. And so once they made sure I was clean and good to go, my heart was still about 25%, 30%. I then left, the hospital, like, all right, you're cleared, take it easy. I was sent home with IV antibiotics, and every like 8 hours I had to inject my own, antibiotics and stuff, and then obviously continued chemo for the next, I think 4, maybe 5 rounds of chemo still.
my God.
So that kind of took me into all of 2016, or 2015 and then 2016. But when I got out of the hospital, went straight to the hospital, or I got out of the hospital, went straight to the gym. I remember I sat on the bench. I'm like, all right, let's bench some, weight. I sit down, and I think I put the bar up twice, and it buried me. 45 pounds. I was like, oh my God. I remember I sat up, and my heart just raced. I'm like, I think I almost killed myself. I'm like, I better not do that again. Ease myself into it. Come on, what are you doing, Matt?
Oh my God.
And I still, I couldn't really walk because my balance was so off still, but like I still could walk.
Yeah.
And it was just the weirdest thing, because I couldn't jog, I had to ease myself in the jogging. I had to ease myself in the walking, around a lap around the gym or whatever. And so I looked in the mirror and just told myself, because the way I looked, like I was 160 pounds. I just had lost 60 pounds in 18 days. Um, and I looked in the mirror and I told myself, this this won't be me for very much longer. Um, and I just continued the grind. I was honestly at 4 to 6 hours a day in the gym. From then on out, I didn't care if I had pick lines in me. Didn't care, honestly. you know, Sounds bad, but when you love something so much and you have you're so goal driven that you don't care. Honestly, if I would have died doing what I loved, I would have died, and I honestly wouldn't have cared. Um, so that was honestly my mindset, was like, well, I'm gonna grind. I'm gonna get back to where I was. I'm gonna show everybody, the hard work and dedication is all about. And if I die, I die. In my head, I honestly, that's what I thought. Um, and I continued to grind every day, every day, every day, and eventually, 3 months rolls around. I'm almost back to shape I was in. Um, then 6 months hit, um, and just so on and so forth. I then, I'm kind of back to where I'm at. I start powerlifting again. My lifts are back at, in maybe about 6 months, they're back at, over 400 pound bench press, over 600 pound squat, 600 pounds, um, so 400 bench, 600 squat, 600 deadlift. Um, and, honestly, I got to the point in 2015, um, where I want to start CrossFitting. So, and so the end of 2015, I started CrossFitting. This is only like, 6 months after my diagnosis. I was watching The Fittest Man on Earth, and I'm like, man, I want that. I want to do
Yeah.
these guys. These guys are some bad dudes, and gals. They're bad chicks and bad dudes, that are just completely just studs, complete studs. Um, and I had the strength. Now it's like, well, it's time to work my endurance. So remember that next day I went and started CrossFitting, and had crazy goals in my mind. Then 2016 was in full remission. And I also, at middle 2016 ish, in 2017, I get the invite to the Air Force Warrior Games. Well, it's the Warrior Games. I was on the Air Force team. And I went to the trials in Vegas, and then we do our events, 100, 200, whatever events you're doing for whatever event you recruited for and whatnot,
Hmm.
you'll do. And so I actually made the Warrior Games for the Air Force. So I represent the Air Force against all branches of the military, um, including Spec Ops and all that jazz. So I actually took two in Chicago. In the Warrior Games, I took 2 gold, 2 silver, and 2 bronze for the Air Force,
Wow.
which was kind of start of, of my story and what I wanted to do. So that was amazing. That the experience there was just, it was priceless. It one that um, is at the top, and I continue grinding, and being in the military. I come back home, do my military, train, for the next opportunity that comes. Um, so I remember I kept grinding, kept grinding, and then this opportunity came with the Titan Games, and I was ready. Mentally, physically, I was definitely ready. I've been grinding in CrossFit to trying to make it to regionals. I've gotten close with team or whatever it was. I've been I've been I see my weaknesses and I train my weaknesses till they're my strengths. That's another big motto I like to use because it's
Hmm.
true. It's so true. Um, and so I end
Yeah.
up I train my CrossFit still on the daily. Um, and then I got the opportunity to go into the Titan Games and use my strengths and my mental strength as well. Um, and it got me to the show. Um, obviously we're not allowed to talk too much about you know it or like the results, but the experience was that of a lifetime. You go there
Yeah.
and you meet all these incredible athletes. Like they're like the fittest athletes on the planet. In their own respective sport. From martial arts to bodybuilding to weightlifting to um, CrossFit. You got them all, and it's just going there. Just you feel at home because you're with all these athletes who kind of we all have a story. Everybody in this whole world has a story, but like they all have a story
Yeah.
that's kept them driven, you know, mentally and physically.
Yeah.
And to see them, it was like we're at home. We like to this day we still all talk to each other. We all have our own like our Instagram message blog, whatever you want to call it. We have our own Facebook friend page. We're all in our Facebook page. We all stay in contact together. So that's been really, really nice. Uh, we're all supportive of each other. During and after the Titan games. You know, um, because what people don't know, like it doesn't matter what the results are of the Titan games. You go there and you're on this crazy high because you're doing what you love and you're around like NBC on producers and then Rock. You're around all these people who you see on TV and whatnot, and just it's crazy. You're on this crazy high. You
Hmm.
gotta do what you love. And then like once the show is done, it's just instant drop. Like you're on like an instant low. And that's like I mean, you can't really help it. You're just kind of depressed, and so it's just me. I wanted to be there for whoever any of the athletes. Like they like we talk back and forth. You can call me. I'll call you if I need just to bring you back up because I mean it can be kind of depressing and sad because you're doing all this and then boom, then it's like back to normal life. You're like, man,
Yeah.
it kind of hits you hard, but um, yeah. So that's kind of been where I'm at. I'm now just waiting for the premiere tonight.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
definitely excited.
So excited to watch and to see it all unfold. And I mean, Matt, your story is absolutely incredible, and I love that you preach different mantras, but a main one, is being prepared for all those opportunities. But it also unknowingly prepares you for the unknown, and it's
Mm-hmm.
what CrossFit does too. I mean, and so everything
Mm-hmm.
that you're doing is so intimately intertwined, and it's led you to this point. But it's just like you're saying, being prepared is what helped you through all of the obstacles, and it helped you achieve all of these goals that you set for yourself. And so like you're saying, after the games ended, that transitional period, it's that short-lived, that high of going through and
Mm-hmm.
competing with all these incredible individuals and having, like you're saying, building that community, making these friends. So how are you now, and how did you deal with that kind of transition out of it? Did you set your sights immediately on a new goal that you wanted to achieve, or do you have a sights on maybe another kind of game show on the horizon?
So honestly, right after the games, I then I so honestly, like even like during the game, I still was my off time. I was going to train at CrossFit gyms, in LA or whatnot.
Yeah.
But like after the TV show, I then went over to Sacramento, California. That's where my dad lives, and I have a really good buddy there who owns a gym, CrossFit gym there, and I trained every day with him. Uh, and that's what I do. I train CrossFit every day. I always take the days off I need, which like once or maybe once a week. I try to take at least once a week off, but it's hard. It is hard.
Yeah.
Um, but I train every day. I do want to make it to the CrossFit Games. I if that's if it's not this year, then in the near future, I do want to make it to the CrossFit Games. That's a goal of mine,
Yeah.
and I will continue to strive. You know, if I don't, I don't. But obviously, I will continue. It doesn't matter if in 7, 8 years when I'm masters, I'm going to make the games in my lifetime. But
Yes.
if it's not this year, next year, whatever, then it's not. But we'll just for right now, I will just continue to train, compete CrossFit, and see where that takes me. Um,
Absolutely. Like you set
Yes.
those high achieving goals, but like you're saying, you have to continue to put in that work, put in that training, and it might one day lead you to really achieving that goal, going to the games, going as a master's athlete, going at whatever level it is. But no matter what, you're going to continue the training because it's going to bring you those goals along the way, those new goals that maybe you didn't even see in your path because you were pursuing
Definitely.
that ultimate goal and that one at the end. So, I mean, Matt, with just this incredible journey that you've had, and specifically with your experiences on the Titan Games, I wonder, what is your definition of a Titan, and how do you believe that your experience as a Titan will now carry over into the rest of your life?
Honestly, everybody, definition of a Titan is going to be different.
Yeah.
Mine, Titans, like what The Rock said. I don't know if you watch his previews and whatnot. He
Oh,
says
yeah.
like Titans aren't born. Titans aren't born. They're made. So like over hard work for me, over hard work, a Titan is born. Just like myself. I mean, never giving up. Continue to strive for your goals. Like determination and perseverance. All those, including being resilient, meaning you bounce back. All those, I think, are definitions for me as a Titan. And then they all come into one because, like myself, you all through all these all these lows, and you make it into a positive.
Yeah.
So all these like negatives, you make into a positive. I've never given up. Even if you want to, honestly in my head I've never really wanted to give up. I've always just like, I've been like sad for a little while. I'm like, all right, get out of this funk. Let's go. Do your thing. You know what makes you happy. And I just continue to train and, bounce back. And honestly, I think that's my definition of a Titan.
Yeah.
Is just never giving up. Continue to grind, and work hard for what you love, because in this lifetime, you're kind of wasting away if you don't chase something you love or do something you love. Is what I think and
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah.
So,
And it's true too. I love what you said. It's making that intentional decision. You have to decide. Like, you can be sad and you can be angry about something, but at some point you have to decide to come out of that slump. You have to make the decision. All right, what's it going to take for me to get out of this? You know what makes you happy, so how are you going to work towards that? Again, setting those goals and being diligent and disciplined to get there, and putting in the work to ultimately get to that point again, or to an even better point than you were, and knowing that you have to make that decision within you. It's instilled within you. And so, Matt, just with everything that you've accomplished, and knowing that you still have so much left to achieve, and with all of these goals that you have, and I'll definitely be looking for you at the next CrossFit Games and all of them subsequently. But I just have one final question that I ask all of my interviewees. But what do you want to be remembered for?
So I want to be remembered as the guy who beat all odds. I wasn't supposed to wake up, and I did, and I want to be known for just the fight, the comeback, and to never giving up. I want to be that guy because I want to show everybody what hard work and determination can take you. And honestly, that's what I would love people to just remember me by. Just hear my name and be like, man, he came from his deathbed, on a ventilator, on life support, and all his organ failures, and then his comeback. He got right back in the gym. He went right back to doing what he loves doing, and over time, he continued to grind and never stopped, and just got to he accomplished his goals because he's never gave up, and mentally and physically, he prepared himself. That's honestly what I would love people to remember me by.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's installment of the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. To learn more about each of these Titan athletes, be sure to check out their information in the links in my show notes. Furthermore, to stay up to date on all things coming out of the Keep Moving Forward Creators Studio, be sure to subscribe to the Keep Moving Forward podcast iTunes channel and follow along on social media, also available in the show notes. As the creator of the Titan Games, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, "Titans aren't born, they're made." And I hope today's story helped you realize all that you are capable of becoming if you put in that hard work and just keep moving forward.